let's talk about more, zero in on the role of parents. So what you were just sharing about the contrast between the average Asian parent and the average American parent in your experience. How the Asian parents are much more engaged and involved with their student and their academic and learning process. Um, from my own experience, and I'm asking you from the standpoint of your experience, would you not agree that students always do better when they have active engagement? Now, obviously, there's positive engagement. There's can be, you talked about hovercraft and lawnmower type parent, which sometimes that's necessary, but in other words, but where a parent is actively engaged in the process of the child's instruction and learning. For starters, the parents are the first instructors. I mean, from the time of birth all the way through, the parent is the primary educator. Would you agree with that, first of all, that they
Yeah.
are the primary educator? And then talk a little bit about, so just kind of zero in on those.
All right, I'll talk about. Let me throw a couple other pieces in as we're going.
Sure.
Think about school curriculum in general. What don't we teach kids to do? We don't teach them to be a parent. You realize we don't teach kids how to be a responsible parent, what parenting looks like. If anything, a lot of those programs have been cut out. But if you look at parenting, if you really want to hook a parent, you got to start early. We started actually at birth when we would give when we find out when parent would have a child in the community, we'd send out reading books and nursery books, and we tried to make that connection early. And I can tell you that pays benefits, because if the parent reads to the child in their lap, guess what happens in kindergarten, first grade? They can read. What's one of those skills that we want them to be able to do is read. Yeah. So if you get a parent doing that, that helps you excuse me, lots of different ways. In elementary, you have PTA and all that kind of stuff, and so parents are lining up. Then it's during the middle school years when their kids are going through that puberty stuff, and parents and their kids sort of they sort of split, and the kids don't want to see their parent anywhere close by. And the challenge then is to keep the parents involved until you get them to high school. And that's one of the reasons why the career path thing was so successful. We reconnected with the parents and showed, because during middle school, as you know, that's probably one of the most unique times to educate kids. Research says you'd be just as well to let them home those 3 years and just let that gap, because that's just what research says. It's just difficult to teach them, and we've done all kinds of creative stuff. But parents are crucial. Mm-hmm. And so that's, you really have to work to connect with them. And that means that, with our technology, you need to be putting out, for instance, and I hate to use an example, but with the school I'm working with now, they put out weekly, they send to every parent sort of an update, what happened, sort of all the positives and stuff that happened, and they send out pictures from all the classrooms, there during the week. So the parents are constantly getting information about what's going on at school. Well, if you get that kind of information, you automatically start connecting. You start being positive. And I can tell you, when I was in the public system, we didn't do that very much. We did it at maybe key points of the year, maybe once, or we never made it a focal point. We never made it an issue, and that probably was a mistake. Because really, if you look at education in general, we didn't want parents involved. Really. I'm not talking about me personally, but really, we didn't want
the system. The system, you say.
The system, the overall system. Once you got past elementary, you didn't want the parents involved. Let us take care of them. And I think that's one of the issues that came from the governmental kinds of influence. We don't want to smear the relationship of those two, and you're two separate groups, and And I think that was really sort of a subconscious kind of thing that occurred, or unconscious kind of thing, unintended consequence probably. And we need to do a better job with that. But you have to engage the parent. Because in most schools, in most settings, in the particularly secondary school, the most engagement you got with the parents were either the band parents, the sports athletic parents, or the kid that went to the assistant principal's office. So if you weren't in one of those specialty groups,
Mhm.
there really wasn't that connection. I mean, if you really want to get me talking, band parents can be tad vicious because they really protect their kids. You know, they're looking after the program. They want the program, and and eventually I had a good relationship with them. But you know, that was sort of hard to get accustomed to. You had this group of parents. Then you have the, you know, the quarterback club. But again, you take those kids out, you still got 80% of your kids that you really don't have much contact with the parents. So I think parenting is crucial. Our kids in the school I'm working with now are boarding kids, but we have parent teacher conferences with American teachers with Korean parents. We do it by Zoom. And if the American teacher can't speak Korean, we have a translator in there with them, just like we're doing now. And so it's about being high touch. There's with technology, heavens, we didn't have it when I first started teaching, but now there's no reason not to be touching every parent.